have to is something that changes our whole mindset, our reflection, and our thinking. What would it mean for us as leaders if we change that mindset? What if we turn our leadership opportunities into a get-to experience? Embracing that get-to mentality, it significantly increases the motivational factor of what we're doing. Belief is the single most influential factor in promoting student achievement. Teachers want the administrators to believe in them. I know you're a great educator in the school. That belief inspires me to want to get to the school that day. Principals that are out there, if you believe in your staff and your students to the core, the bottom of your heart, and you believe they'll have an impact, that staff will know it, those students will know it, and they'll rise to the occasion every time. Welcome to the Learning and Leadership Podcast. Do you ever have those days where you start your day out thinking, I have to go to work today, or maybe I have to pay my bills, or I have to meet someone to do something? I have to is something that changes our whole mindset, our reflection, and our thinking. What would it mean for us as leaders if we change that mindset? What if we turn our leadership opportunities into a get-to experience? Have to versus get to. How could we change those opportunities of have to really exhilarating opportunities? I think it's a mind shift. Bottom line, brace yourself. That's what the podcast is about today. All today, flipping our mindset to this game-changing revelation, have to versus gift to. I think the mindset change could be transformational in how we interact with others, how we prepare for what we do, and how we create a culture of leadership that's thriving. So, join me on this journey today. Let's talk about how this obligation mentality can transform into one of empowerment. Think about that. Obligation versus empowerment. I certainly know for me that obligation just weighs me down. It is a lot on my shoulders because if I look at my calendars, I look at events, I look at things that I'm doing, then I look at family expectations, I look at all these things, obligations in that manner, the timing, the meetings, all of those things, it can be a lot of weight on us. But if I flip that script to the get to, I start thinking about the get to people I get to interact with. I think about my grandkids that I get to spend moments and time with and watch them flourish in life. It transforms the way I think about things. That's empowering to me. That's unlocking our leadership potential. That's unlocking the possibilities of what a conversation could turn into. Have to versus get to. What would happen if we absolutely transform our thinking in that manner? So I want to tell you about a friend of mine. His name's Damon West. So Damon is an incredible individual. Damon has spoke all over the world. You've probably heard about him. Damon's book, The Change Agent, I'll tell you, is one of my favorite. You guys that know me know I'm a voracious reader. And his book, The Change Agent, absolutely captivated me. And in his book, he talks about his journey when he was in prison. But what I want to focus on today is his mindset. Damon's out on parole now. He's on parole for life. I don't want to tell you his whole story because I want you to read his book, The Change Agent. I want you to look him up on YouTube because his message is amazing. But what Damon does is a perfect message and example for us of a have to versus get to mentality. You see, Damon speaks everywhere, just like I said. Every single month, Damon has to go to the parole office to get his permission, to do drug tests, to do all these different things just to get to travel out of the state of Texas. And he has to do it monthly. But you know what Damon does? Every single month, my friend Damon takes a picture in front of the parole office and says, today I get to go to the parole office. I get to take my drug test. I get to fill out the paperwork to get to travel out of the state of Texas. Damon knows the difference between have to and get to. He knows the difference of being able to live a life on the outside of prison and the one in the world we're in. There's a quote in his book, in the very back of the book, that I want to share with you that says, position determines perspective. My position and perspective today are that my worst days out here in the free world are better than my best days in prison. I don't know about you, but I've never been to prison, thank heavens. So I can say I've not experienced that. But I know if I compare a perspective of Damon's have to versus get to, that dude gets it. And I think about myself and I have to call myself on it. I have to say, dude, what am I complaining about? I've not been in prison. I don't have that level of accountability. And I still sometimes deep down inside myself think, why do I have to do this? So today I'm calling on accountability partners. Let's find a way that we transform our thinking from have to get to. So each time, on these podcasts, we narrow our focus. It's about 3, 2, 1 for me. 3 points, 2 questions, 1 quote, and we're always going to leave with an action item. So let's get started. Our 3 points. We're going to talk about ways that we can move in to this get to mentality as a leader and what are the benefits of that. So I first started thinking, point number 1, it's about enhanced motivation, right? It's about the motivation that engages us in a completely different way. Embracing that get to mentality, it significantly increases the motivational factor of what we're doing. Because I start thinking about, I get to do this and my possibilities of that opportunity transform. Let's take an example. I'm about to have a meeting with somebody and I'm thinking the conversation could be kind of difficult. So the have to in me is like, oh no, what could happen? Oh no, this is going to be a challenge. It could be really difficult. What am I going to say? How are they going to leave? What's going to go on? The get to mentality is, what are the possibilities if we transform this conversation? What are the possibilities if we both see the opportunity in the conversation? What are the opportunities of a get to on the other side of a positive resolution to that conversation? Completely transforming. It not only transforms the end result, but it does transform my mentality. We also need to think about the environments we're creating, because let me tell you, you and I both know the big difference in how people respond to the environments that we have. We want people to know the environments we're recreating are a get-to mentality, a get-to environment, a celebratory environment, a culture environment that's enhancing to whatever goals, dreams, aspirations people have. Think about our meetings. Okay, our world is full of meetings these days, whether you're education, business, whatever, faculty meeting. Do we get to go to that meeting? I have to go to the meeting. Do I get to go to the training? Do I have to go to the training? I got to tell you, it changes the way we plan. I'll put myself out there. Usually, I'd say 7 to 10 days a month, I'm doing professional development trainings in education world and businesses. Now, it's very interesting how the leaders set up these trainings. The leaders could say, this is a required training you have to go to. What did we just do? You have to go to it. The leaders could set it up as, you have this opportunity for learning. That's a get to experience. You guys, I can tell the difference in the body language, the facial expressions of people sitting right in front of me. So I have to find a way to quickly change the perspective and the attitude of the individuals in my audience to thinking, hold on, time out. This could be a different training because you get to be here. Now, what does that do for my mindset when I'm training? When I'm planning, I have to think, how can I create an amazing experience where people within the first few minutes are thinking, man, I get to be in this training today. I get to use my time wisely. I get to get the benefit of whatever the learning is, the collaboration. So you guys, point number 1 of our 3, point number 1 is I get to. Get to enhances our motivation. It changes the way we plan. It changes the environment we're in. We want to move from get to have to. Point number 2, let's talk about how it cultivates that culture, how it cultivates an environment where it's very positive, it's encouraging, it creates a change, it fosters a mentality that's completely different. It fosters a culture and climate. You guys talk about keeping retention of everybody around you. People want to be a part of a get-to environment. What do you do to create that? It's also about the belief. There's a lot of research out there about our belief in others. In November 2021, Educational Leadership had an article that came out that was extremely powerful. It talked about the power of educator efficacy. We hear about that a lot, efficacy. It's collective efficacy. If I believe in you, you are transformed in your thinking. If we collectively believe in the power of our school, we can transform the environment our students are in. Just knowing I'm going to a place where they believe in me. Teachers want the administrators to believe in them. I know you're a great educator in the school. That belief inspires me to want to get to the school that day, just like students. Listen, these students are bringing lots of baggage with them every single day. We want them to get up, even in that struggling world, even in our world that maybe they don't get the best breakfast, even in a world that there could be noise and chaos around them, that they want to get ready because they get to go to a place where people believe in them. Belief is the single most influential factor in promoting student achievement. Let me say that again. Belief. How crazy is that? Our belief, our sincere, authentic belief that you can do it is the single most influential factor in promoting student achievement. I know it's hard to believe, but there's plenty of data out there, research on it. Check out Hattie's work from 2016. Lots of work out there, Marzano's, that really challenges you to consider. It's not socioeconomic, it's not home support. All those are factors, prior achievement, but the bottom line is our belief in one another. I don't know about you, but I want to surround myself with people that believe in me. I want people that stretch me for sure, but I need their encouragement that they know I can get from where I am today to be a better person tomorrow. Principles that are out there, if you believe in your staff and your students to the core, the bottom of your heart, and you believe they'll have an impact, that staff will know it, those students will know it, and they'll rise to the occasion every time. We've got sporting events every day. These coaches, you're looking at phenomenal talents and the things they'll do for their coach, the motivating factors that they'll do. They'll run through a wall. I was blessed to coach 18 years with some of the greatest athletes. I mean, I wasn't a D1, I wasn't professional, but let me tell you, my athletes were amazing because they had the heart and soul of a champion. But you know what? I could tell when I demonstrated a core belief in them, the things that they would rise up and do that a normal 16 and 17-year-old couldn't always do, the collective efficacy, it was a game changer. We've got to get to. When we get people to believing in what we believe about them, the sky's the limit. Everyone wins, and it all starts with leadership. We have to prioritize that culture. So how do we do that? How do we do that? Because a lot of people talk about you got to have a culture, you got to have a climate that's motivational, okay? There are 4 ways that I think that we can start immediately to changing our culture. 1, we got to give the gift of time. You've got to invest in people. It could take a few seconds, but you've got to say, I'm here, I'm listening, welcome today. When was the last time you were in the parking lot of your school, your administration building, your business, your office, and you were in the parking lot welcoming people to school that day or welcoming people to work? Shake their hand. How are you this morning? Looking at their facial expressions. Number 1, give them the gift of time. Number 2, listen. I'm pausing because I have to work on this all the time. We've got to listen to what people say. And sometimes listening's looking at body behavior, looking at their tone, looking at their expression, but people want to feel heard. So many times leaders tell me, well, I can't give them what they want, or I can't make the change, or somebody else higher is telling us this is a mandate. You guys, none of those are the factors. I guarantee you, if people feel heard, you may not give them what they want, but they need to be heard. Okay? It's not about always getting what you want, but you need to be heard. So number 2, we've got to listen. Number 3, ask. Ask how they like to be celebrated. Ask the type of culture that they want to be in. What's the environment? and ask regularly. After every single interaction I have with schools or businesses, I constantly ask for feedback. I want to know what worked. What did you like? What could we do better? Was the interaction the level you wanted? Ask questions so you can know, so you can be better. It's tough putting yourself out there. Sometimes I have to choke because I'm like, oh, especially when you put a rating out there, whatever it is. But you got to be willing to be open to that. So ask people what they want. And finally, along those lines, create an avenue of feedback. You've got to have a place where people know you've got an open door policy. They can come and talk to you. There's a Dropbox, whatever it is you want to create. But those are 4 ways that you can start immediately creating a culture where people get to experience what you have to offer in your world. So you may be saying, well, I've heard all that before. It's nothing, new. What can I do about this? Okay. Our actions and our behaviors are what have to change. It's all about those. So I'm going to give you an example of what you can do. Every one of us have meetings that we attend, meetings that we go to. So what if at a faculty meeting next time, it's your time, they're coming, you set aside 3 minutes and you have index cards and you tell everybody, I want you to write a note to someone, a colleague, a parent, a student. Tell me why you're so excited you get to work with them, why you're excited you get to have them in your class, why you're excited you get to collaborate with them. 3 minutes. I guarantee you every person in that meeting will be able to write at least 1, maybe 2. And then you as the leader, take those, mail those to that person. Let them know they matter. You guys, if we start celebrating our get-tos and tell people what matters, exponentially, again, that culture, that environment will change. Point number 3, you know what? A get-to environment is full of innovation and creativity. Think about that. We live in a world where innovation is happening right in front of us. Creativity is essential. Thinking on our feet, making decisions quickly, really pulling in all of the information. And if I'm in a place of peace and get to and enthusiasm and motivation, I'm going to see tasks, challenges, arduous problems as opportunities. I'm not going to see them as burdens. I'm going to see those as great opportunities to experience innovation and growth. I'm going to see collaborative opportunities for me and my peers to unpack and see, how would you do this? How would you handle this? What would be your response? Leaders who embrace this mindset are much more likely to approach problems in a creative way. And you know what? When we have a get-to mentality, we're not afraid of change. We're not afraid of the discussion about change. And listen, life is changing constantly around us, right? It makes a huge difference. So having an opportunity to have meaningful dialogue and creating the opportunity for innovation and creativity opens itself up exponentially in a get-to environment. So cultivate a get-to mindset. It's all about that motivation, right? It's the belief. Next, we have to prioritize and cultivate that positive work environment. And you create the opportunities where people get to share with others why they are important to them. And third, that transformational leadership, the impact of a get-to mentality opens up innovation and creativity. All right, our 2 questions for today for our reflection to really think about this. I want you to think about your current leadership approach. How often do you find yourself viewing tasks, meetings, responsibilities as burdensome obligations? How often do you say, I have to do this? All right. Our goal is thinking, what can I do to shift my mindset to a get-to opportunity in my leadership role? What steps do I need to take? My second question is, think about a recent challenge that you've had. Maybe it's a setback that's occurred in your leadership journey. I want you to go back and reflect on that and just kind of unpack it. So next time you'll have a get-to mentality. I want you to reframe the experience and start to finish. What would have happened if you used a get-to lens for that challenge or that obligation? What might have happened if your mind shift was changed? If you were thinking about a get-to, would that have propelled yourself to a different response, a different action, or a different outcome? Because that's when we become empowering leaders, when we think about get-to. My quote for today, you guys, I want to share with you is leadership isn't about what you have to do. It's about what you get to do. Embrace that privilege, embrace the opportunity, and watch how the opportunities transform into triumphs when you move from have to get to. So our reflection from today are 3 points. The get to mindset, we've got to use that to enhance our motivation and the people around us. We've got to create a belief society, a belief mentality, so people will rise to the occasion. We have to, number 2, prioritize and cultivate a positive environment. And number 3, a get to mentality will increase our innovation and our creativity. You know, each podcast will always have an action item, and we want to ask ourselves, what are we going to do with this learning today? Because learning should equal a behavior change. There should be a response to whatever it is. It should be a catalyst that propels us to something different. And today we have action items. Oh yes, it's a bonus. I can't help myself. We get 2 action items today. So one is thinking about an event or a meeting that's coming up. Maybe it's one that you're really not looking forward to. I want you to take a few minutes and write down 3 outcomes that could occur in that meeting where you have a get-to attitude about the opportunity. Think about the positive outcomes that can occur in that meeting instead of the things you're dreading about. Think about the get-to attitude. All right. And our action item number 2, I want you to intentionally find an opportunity that you can share with someone in writing. Old school. Okay. Old school. I want you to really pin something down on paper, an opportunity to share with someone in writing why you're excited that you get to work with them, interact with them, share with them, learn with them. I want you to think of someone that you can share that with, and then share it. Make sure that they know that you're excited about the get to. You guys, I'm Lisa Spain, and my mission daily is to create that bandwidth for leaders. I want to make sure we all have the space to lead and learn continuously. My goal in these podcasts is to create a network of like-minded individuals. But you know what? Today, I'm truly thankful because I've been blessed beyond measure to get to work with many of you out there. And maybe in the future, I'm going to get to work with more of you. But because of you, my energy, my passion, my belief in educators, business leaders everywhere has grown so much. You've enriched my life in so many ways, and I'm truly grateful for that. If anything in this podcast has resonated with you, or it's touched a nerve, or it's been a catalyst for a thought change, please reach out. Let us connect. Let's talk. Let's learn together. Let's grow our learning and leadership together.